Hi, good afternoon. My name is Carissa Nee. I am the Director of Communications with Aveshka, and I'm here today to speak with Dr. Lou Marciani with the Innovation Institute for Fan Experience. And so a couple of questions for you, Dr. Marciani. Can you give us just a quick background on the Innovation Institute for Fan Experience and the impetus for standing it up earlier this year?
Well, I had retired from director of the National Center for Spectator Sports Safety and Security at the University of Southern Mississippi, April 1st. So by the time I got to the house that day, the phone was ringing and this pandemic was starting to pick up some steam. And people said, well, where are you and what's going on? So I was very fortunate in April to work with a company called Toffler Associates in DC and the Institute to come together to put together a national task force in sports and entertainment industry to bring people back to work, play, and spectate. So it gave me a continued emphasis in the country in safety and security while I was putting together the concept of this institute. And so the institute is really done in parallel with the pandemic issue, but the timeliness was perfect. We're able to do what the mission of the institute is to look at current issues and try to help solve the problems through a global alliance with thought leaders and stakeholders. So that's what happened. That's what happened.
So if the pandemic never happened, would you have continued to start this?
Yes, and here's what happened too. During my experiences with the National Center, I had gotten heavily engaged with Interpol. Interpol is international policing, and we are their academic arm at the National Center. So I began to get engaged with 194 countries through Interpol for training purposes. So I knew as early as 2018 that there's a gap in the world relative to understanding and enhancing safety and security globally. So my intent upon leaving the center was to create some type of global alliance to bring people together for networking, bringing people together for training or education, and really looking at maybe some standardization of this industry globally. So yes, it would have been started, probably not as dynamic or as quick as what I'm experiencing on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Sure. No, that makes sense. I mean, it's kind of perfect timing at the moment.
Yeah, this happened to me once before. It was 9/11, and I had just taken over a position at the university in the academic side, and we immediately began to do research right after 9/11 on stadium security. And from there, we caught the attention of the government. And by 2006, we had the National Center. So I knew I've had experience, obviously, in standing up centers or institutes. And that exactly same situation happened. We stepped in and began to help the country out through FEMA, through DHS, training, best practices, etc. So the similar things are happening with the Institute regarding this pandemic that will lead probably to a similar situation, but more on a global perspective.
Interesting. So you said it's a global alliance. Can you shed some insight on the membership base? I guess how's it grown since IIFX's instantiation?
I'm getting used to IIFX. Yes, I know. It's new to me too, obviously. Well, we just began, obviously, and we're attracting people that are in the security business, profession, from professional teams. We're obviously in communications with leagues, with technology companies, think tanks like yours, to we're starting to bring people together. So if you look at who we are, I think first we're really thought leaders together, right? It's thought leaders and subject matter experts, stakeholders, coming together with, like yesterday, we had a kind of a think tank meeting, right, with the fellows, and Dr. Jolly was on it, and we had sort of interesting, conversation. So what we want to do is, on a broader scale, is to create a forum series where we can have town halls, workshops. Soon I want to talk to you about our conference, bringing people together to open up communications is number one. Two would be educating people. Thirdly would be, looking at standards, looking at best practices, looking at lessons learned. So basically, we're opening up the world to come together to solve problems. I mean, that's a simple way to put it.
So anyone can join, essentially.
Yeah, the people who will join are from 28 different segments, if I want to call them segments. Whether you're running yesterday we had someone from youth sports, USA Soccer is engaged, to all the way up to NBA. So we also want to get like law firms involved, architectural firms, because design has a factor, law has a factor in the best practices. High schools are very important to us as well. I don't think we want to leave anybody out, because it is in term global. Global could mean any entity, like you said, that really wants to solve a problem in sports safety and security that's in the industry of sports or entertainment.
No, that's great. So you mentioned, so we were super ecstatic to have that Aveshka's Chief Medical Officer, Till Jolly, join IIFX's Distinguished Fellows. And you mentioned that you had a meeting with them yesterday, a forum yesterday. So just curious, just to shed insight to others, how does IIFX go about selecting the fellows? Yeah. And what specifically about Dr. Jolly made him stand out to you?
Well, very particular. If you're gonna form an institute, your fellows need to bring a great deal of experience, knowledge, reputation to this entity, right? Because this is going to be a global entity that should be well respected. So when we put the fellows together, comments came. Well, how do you select them? Obviously, you review the applications based on people's experience and reputation. And so when we stood up the fellows, a comment came that, not just the pandemic, but I think the world is going to change where health safety is a critical piece of this future. So they asked me to begin to identify someone from the medical field that would be able to guide the group of fellows, right, and to us at the Institute, to look at health risk as we go down the road. So fortunately, and sometimes a little luck, Andy Weiss is the one that, one of the recommendations he had. And I knew of Dr. Jolly from other experiences indirectly, especially when he was with the National Football League for 11 years, really assisting with the Super Bowl. And so he had a lot of experience in medical field, but it's very broad. If you look at his background, it's from events to risk communications to emergency management, et cetera, et cetera. He was an easy choice, right, in the country to bring all this talent to this entity. So we're blessed with him saying yes. And he really did well yesterday in his first meeting, and fit in really well with the other fellows, and I think he wants to, without a doubt, wants to contribute to not just this pandemic. Yes, it's our problem right now, but far beyond that.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Dr. Jolly, I mean, you guys are blessed to have him. We are extremely blessed to have him too. Aveshka is very excited about him, especially he just became our CMO recently. So it's a wonderful addition to our team and to yours.
And then he bridges the gap between the two of us.
Absolutely.
As you look at where you're going, your mission is very similar to ours in a way.
Absolutely.
It's about solving problems. It's about bringing innovation to the industry. We happen to be one of your industries. I think the beauty here is that you serve many agencies, you serve many facets of emergency management, et cetera, et cetera. I think the connection now between the two of us is that you have a channel now called Sports and Entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what you bring to the table is fantastic, particularly as we look at two things that the Institute will pay a lot of attention to down the road. One is knowledge and two is data. We can't move the industry without those two. And if you look at some of your strength, you're very going to be, you are strong, even going to get stronger in data and data analysis. And how do we look at issues from that standpoint mm-hmm. to elevate the entire industry? So I think the vehicle is going to be great from you to us to the industry, helping leagues, helping major venues understand their risk from that perspective and making decisions in the future based on data versus call it gut, call it what you want to call it. So mm-hmm. I think that's probably going to be the major contribution of this relationship. I predict that.
Sure. So, I mean, yes, like as you mentioned, we have this innovation component. I mean, Aveshka has been historically known for our public health, emergency management, consulting type experience, but we do have this wonderful, very active innovation and technology arm that we have too. So we're in the process of developing these platforms for digesting big data, performing data analytics. So for example, for you, I know you just mentioned that data-driven decisions are pretty much going to be very important to you guys, but for example, if the NFL wants to open a stadium to fans during the time of COVID, how do you foresee IIFX pairing policy and that data to make decisions that enhance the fan experience while keeping everyone safe?
I think we have education in front of us.
Sure.
I think our industry, even though I'm involved in it for many, many years, is conservative and slow at the switch sometimes to mm-hmm. grow to the level we're talking about. So I think we met with Sean the other day. I think it's Sean or Shannon.
Shannon. Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
And we discussed, and I put out there to start to pilot something in the nature of how to make decisions in the COVID situation. So my first step is to work our way through one environment to see, what the gaps are, what the needs are, and then kind of what I would like to see is build out a platform for this industry that we can make the industry aware of, and then work with those industries to build out a good analytical process for them to enhance their decision making down the road. So that's where I think we're going to go.
Great.
Yeah.
So I know IIFX is very new, but clearly you guys have been busy. You hit the ground running and taking action, especially with matters related to COVID-19. So what are the initiatives that you're currently working on, and how do you see Aveshka contributing to those upcoming initiatives?
Yeah, we have obviously we're moving forward here. One initiative is our international conference, November 17th and 18th, and we met about that yesterday. And this is the first one in I think in our industry where it's a global approach to looking at the future of sports and entertainment. It's called Innovative Pathway, or the Pathway to Innovative Solutions for the Sports and Entertainment Industry, right? And one area that's going to come out while building out this conference is certainly health-related issues, right? And I think I'll ask Dr. Jolly to lead that direction. So that is an example of how this might work, so that we can take away from this international conference some gaps that are global. And there's no reason why we can't take you people, all of us really globally, right, down the road. There's stadiums and cities all over the world. So the conference is a big initiative for us. It's our coming out of the Institute on a global platform that's going to, as we put the conference together, for the first time, we may be in sessions with people from all over the world discussing a common problem.
That's right.
So that's a big one. The second initiative is starting to build out what we call the forum series. Now the forum series will be speaker series, bringing in different speakers for the world, having town halls, executive town halls to look at problem A, problem B. We also have a membership group that's called Future Leaders. They have less than 10 years in the profession. And we want to cultivate them through a mentor program with the executives. And so we'll have sessions with them where we can bring some mentors in with them and work with them as they want to grow through the ranks too. So this will probably occur in January, starting in January, this whole forum series. Conference is in November. And then the third thing that's existing right now is the task force. And Dr. Jolly joined the task force as well. And this is about 50 professionals, all aspects of the profession, studying ways to get back to work, play, and spectate. And we're on to stage 2 of this task force, which is centered around reimagination, reigniting. And so they're studying right now, reimagining what life would be after COVID-19 in relation to changes in lessons learned from what's been going on the last couple of weeks with the NBA and all what's people that are opening, to how we're going to handle maybe rapid testing, for instance, at stadiums. Mm-hmm. Or how we're going to do concessions or those types of things down the road. So a lot of my energy is going into task force, the conference, getting ready for the forum series in January. And then the other thing that's keeping us very, very busy is the number of technology firms coming this way to the Institute to look at integrating them with other aspects of safety and security, to how do we get to the marketplace, how do we maybe can pivot to another aspect of their industry. So right now we probably have about 6 or 7 projects just with technology firms that are very exciting. because it's technology, people, and processes, Carissa, okay? And I always stay in that triangle. You can't separate them.
Mm-hmm. For certain.
So to answer your question, that's what's going on in such a short period of time.
You guys are moving and shaking, definitely.
So, you said it earlier, things just happened.
Yeah, so you mentioned you're in stage 2 right now. What does stage 3 look like for IIFX?
It'll probably be 4. I think the next stage is reopening, mm-hmm. And then recovery. So we'll do resilience at the end. And I think the industry overall didn't prioritize, and I understand because I'm in it. When you look at risk, would you think that this would have happened at your venue or your league? You would say probably not. And so probably plans were not in existence for this. So I think once things clear, there'll be a big emphasis put on business continuity, resiliency, and that's another area in which you're very strong at.
Yes,
you're very strong at.
Aveshka can definitely contribute.
So I would think besides data, I'm guessing at this, but I don't think I'm far off. That's the second big major collaborative entity could be helping organizations understand resiliency, number one. And number two, help them build out their plans.
Certainly, yes. Well, I mean, I think that's all we had in terms of questions for you today. We greatly appreciate you sitting down with us and just kind of shedding some light for our viewers who would be how this partnership is going to work out. I mean, I know Aveshka is very excited about embarking on this with IIFX. So
I can say to you, it's similar on this end, because the Institute can only be better by bringing in the best of the best in the world. And we're very lucky that this happened. And you can tell from the enthusiasm of our conversation that there's a lot of potential between the two to better make the world better, to get people back to work, play, and spectate from our end. Okay?
Certainly. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the interview too. Thanks, Kristen.
All right. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye now. Bye.